Winning has a price, and leadership has a price. So I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged. And I earned that right because my teammates came after me. They didn't endure all the things that I endured. Once you join the team, you live at a certain standard that I played the game. And I wasn't going to take any less. Now, that means I had to go in there and get in your ass a little bit, and I did that.
This is a Silk exclusive.
What time is it?
Game time! Boom! Welcome to another episode of Words Music Dance. I'm your host as always, Paulie the Bull. Before we get started, you know what I'm saying, Mother's Day just passed, so shout out to everybody's moms, Rel, Lou, shout out to your mother, shout out to my mama, everybody watching and listening, shout out to y'all mom. Rest in peace to a couple people that passed away recently. There's a list, so make sure I don't forget anybody. We had, what was it, Lil Richard,
Yeah.
Andre Harrell,
Yeah.
what's his name? Stiller, Jerry Stiller, that's Stiller's pops.
Yeah.
Betty Wright.
Yeah.
Not Betty White, for everybody, Betty Wright, the singer. And for anybody who lost somebody in the family, personally, whatever, prayers, blessings, all that to y'all as well.
That was all within like one weekend,
That's what I was saying. It was busy. The Reaper was putting us overtime this weekend. You know what I'm saying? But not just celebrities, like I said, everybody personally, family, friends, everybody. We all dealing with the situation right now. Y'all know what it is. I can't say the name because YouTube be tripping. You know what I'm saying? But and for other reasons, people passing as well. So it ain't just the virus; it's also just regular natural causes and everything else going on in the world. So just want to give a moment to that. Y'all know what we talking about. The Last Dance still going on. We got one more week to go. You know what I'm saying? But we just finished episode 7 and 8, and they also started on a somber note. You know what I'm saying? Last week they started the first 2 episodes talking about Kobe. You know what I mean? And then this week they started off talking about Jordan's pops that passed away. So you know what I'm saying? So we back. We talking about The Last Dance again. We got a small group this time, but that's fine. You know what I'm saying? You guys are my Robin and Pippin anyway. Y'all been here every week, so salute to y'all. We got Rel, we got Lou. You know what I'm saying? It's the Knicks fans, so and y'all had a moment this week, but we'll get to that. Y'all had some highlights this episode too. So I guess it is only right that y'all here. You know what I'm saying? But but like I said, it started off talking about Michael Jordan's father. Him passing away. We all know what happened after the '93 championship, after the three-peat. You know what I'm saying? His father was driving. What I'm saying? They touched on it. I think I brought it up last week too. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna talk about it, but they basically said, what I'm saying, the whole gambling conspiracy theory. Was it a suspension? They didn't really say if it was like maybe a debt that Jordan owed, but they did kind of mention like he took offense to everyone bringing up his personal stuff when it's like my father just passed away. Like, can I grieve? Can you just let it be what it be? You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace to his father still. You know what I'm saying? We all know about that. What did y'all think about the conspiracy theory and all the stories and how the press handled that situation and stuff? I'll start with you, Rel.
Yeah, I think it was pretty ugly for them to try to insert that. Somebody of that stature, actually anybody, it doesn't really have to be somebody of that stature, but you lose a parent. I can't really speak to that. Both of my parents are alive, but if I had to speculate, I mean, that's obviously a great heartache. That's going to take a lot of your attention and a lot of your focus away from anything else you're doing, and all your energy is into grieving at that point. And to have on top of that, allegations that possibly, you're a debt you might have owed from gambling has something to do with it, then it's like, people are blaming your father's death on you, and then that would be the last thing you'd want to do is hurt your father, especially with the relationship that Michael Jordan had with his father. So to be going through that and having to deal with that from the media is bad. I mean, no one knows if that actually is true. I mean, I don't that they don't have any evidence to that would connect those things. But I think there's a certain respect you should have to somebody going, through that. And the media's job is to create and sensationalize things and create buzz. That's what sells papers, what gets viewership, what gets people listening on the radio. But I think if you were gonna report that, you needed to have something a bit more solid than just these allegations and theories that they brought up.
Yeah, true. Good point. Good point. Lou, what's your thoughts on how they handled that situation?
Yeah, the media definitely handled it wrong. I mean, like Rel said, throwing him under the bus when he was grieving. My second point I thought on it was, if it was a suspension, kudos to David Stern and Mike for coming up with an elaborate way to suspend somebody and not suspend somebody. Like, if he did dirt, that's more props to them for hiding it that much in depth. Because it takes real cojones to tell the best player in the world, hey, listen, I'm going to suspend you, but I'm not going to suspend you. I mean, right. I give a lot of thought to it. Like, he still got paid from the Bulls. Could it have been true? Sure. But kudos to David Stern and them for making it work the way they did. I mean, it gave the NBA the ultimate story of a comeback guy.
Yeah.
Him coming back after 18 months off, coming in towards the end of the season. Kudos to them. If those conspiracy theories are true, kudos to them because it worked flawlessly. My personal thinking behind it is, so far through these episodes, Jordan's a hella way too competitive to take a suspension.
Yeah,
right.
He's not sitting down for nobody.
Right.
So in my heart of hearts, he left because it was just too much for him. His dad wasn't there. He had no more drive, no more competition, and he needed that break a week from the game to reset himself. So,
and the thing is, what will be the gain? Because I mean, if he really violated these rules and gambled, and that's why he suspended him, why hide that? You taking the revenue loss anyway. Like the NBA without Mike still was successful, but I mean, there was a loss, done by that.
The only reason I say it would do it is to protect his legacy. Because if Jordan would have went down the NBA doesn't need a Pete Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't need a Pete Rose.
Yeah, I could understand that. Yeah.
So if it came out to light, like, hey, yeah, we're letting him go because of gambling, he bet on games and stuff like that, his whole reputation would have been tarnished. We wouldn't have the Last Dance.
Right. So, and that's the only piece of the rumor that really holds weight, is that the only reason they would do it would be to protect his legacy. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, nothing else really adds up, because it's like they have too much to lose. You know what I'm saying? Because as far as protecting the legacy goes, if there was some weight to that, something would have came out, especially at that time, because we were just talking about Sam Smith writing the book and everybody writing books and things like that. So something would have come out. So that's why the holding of the legacy kind of thing still doesn't hold any weight, because nothing leaked 20, 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and the NBA had so much money. Like, this is his prime. He just three-peated. Like, the NBA is bigger than it's ever been. The Dream Team was just a year ago. And, like, we're talking global. Like, there's so much money and business and things tied into it. And people give too much credit to David Stern because, as the commissioner, he kind of works for the owners. You know what I mean? Like, that's how commissioners work. We do know they, they're the face, the middleman. They got a lot of, some pull of some sort. But a lot of it is still the ownership union. They group together and say what we're going to do, And it's like, would all of the owners come together and be like, hey, we got to do it like this? Like, It just, like I said, it's one of them conspiracies where it's like there's really not much to it. You know what I'm saying? But like you guys alluded to it, he ended up retiring, right after his father passed away, because, we all saw how much his father meant to him, and every championship, his father was right there. You know what I'm saying? When the media was stressing him out, his father spoke up for him on his behalf. Like, they did a pretty good job of the previous, like, 4, 5, 6 episodes of saying how close he still was to his parents. You know, his mom was there when he was a rookie and stuff. You know, he wrote the letter to her. He still kept in touch, and his father was with him. You know, on a lot of occasions. You know, every championship, he's hugged up with him. He got the trophy in one arm, and he got his pops in the other. You know what I'm saying? It was like that, and it was just very, you know, it was a lot on him, you know, that passing. And I lost my father, you know, 13 years ago. Still something that's on the brain. That doesn't never gets easy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And obviously, when you're the most popular person in the world, it's even harder because we already seen the stress the media had on him, and now when he's in his time of grieving, it's your fault. You know, we got reason to believe you got your daddy killed. And it's just like, hey, give me a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm trying to process this myself. Like, you know, and y'all want to just put it on, well, you've been gambling, you've been doing this, and well, what are you going to do now? And, you know, it was like, so funny thing was, to one of the things to combat the conspiracy was, I forgot one of the guys was like, Mike told him previously he was thinking about doing it.
Right.
He was going to do it, but the dream team,
The trainers or something.
he'd already committed to the dream team, and he was like, Magic and Bird never three-peated, so I need to get this one more. But after that, I'm out. So it was like, again, we don't know how much weight that really holds, but for him, if it was a plan he had a year before, then that also goes against.
And shout out to Dude, because he held that down. 'Cause that didn't
right, because that's the biggest secret in the like, Mike is out. Like Michael Jordan is leaving. Like I gotta. Yeah. What do you do? Do you try to stop him? Do I tell somebody? Like Jerry Reinsdorf. Like he's trying to. Do we gotta do something? Like, you know, so like what do you do with that secret? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying. And as we all know, Mike retired. That was the biggest shock to the sports world. Like in his prime. You know what I'm saying? Like the three-peat. Like I said, all of that stuff that just happened, it was just like, but we get it, your father passed, but you gonna just leave? Like, you know what I'm saying? And that was new. Yeah. The news world was just like, what? You don't want to take the summer off? And he comes later, he's like, you out? And then he didn't tell everybody, I'm gonna go play baseball. Cause that's what my father, you know, I used to do in high school. I'm gonna go, and everybody's really like, wait, what? Like, like it was just a shock to everybody. They briefly touched on the baseball career. There was 30 for 30 about that. Again, you can go check that out and see the full story. You know, we all know they showed Terry Francona. A couple people, because of the eyes on Michael, got called up to the majors, so he brought attention to them. And they also touched on, you know, because a lot of people like to crack on his failed baseball stint, but they was like he hit 202. 50 RBIs. He had a 15-game hitting streak to start off, but then they started hitting breaking balls and catching them. You know what I'm saying? 202, not great. However, for someone that just played basketball for 8 years, for 8 years professionally, 3 years in college, high school, like for, you know, since he was 17, was playing basketball solely. You know, it wasn't like a Deion, Bo Jackson, where he was like, I'm doing both. It was like, I am a basketball player. Then to just literally go right into baseball, 20% is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? 50 RBI. I don't know how many games it was. They never mentioned how many games it was, but 50 RBI is still very good. Like,
I guess he said it like it was good. So I guess relative to the amount of games they play, it must have been solid. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's decent. And I'm not like a big in baseball as much as I am basketball. So you know what I'm saying? But for knowing that he was solely a basketball guy, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not, they're not great numbers,
right?
You know what I'm saying? My baseball heads about this. Like, it's not great numbers of somebody that just came from basketball. It's, you know, and if he'd have kept going, you know, who knows? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, baseball had their strike issues, and so he you know, he was kind of foreshadowing his next retirement, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. First season, you know what I'm saying, when Mike was gone, Scotty took over. The triangle was in full effect. It was, you know, a lot of motion, a lot of movement, a lot of passing, you know what I'm saying? And this is where Scotty had his time to shine, and he dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? Scotty had a great season. I believe he was the All-Star MVP that year too. If I'm not mistaken, I think Scottie Pippen was the All-Star MVP. I had to look that up to make sure. He didn't get the league MVP, but I think he was the All-Star MVP. The Bulls had like 53 wins, I think, that year, something like that. Good season, things was going, but then we ended up running into the New York Knicks. And this time we went down 0-2. And, we couldn't have Mike come back from Atlantic City and, save us this time. But that third game was the game there's two games that really stand out. The third game was the game that we actually won, but that was the game where Phil called the last shot for Tony Kukoc.
Right.
And Scotty took offense to that, you know what I'm saying, and was just like, well, I'm not going in. You know what I'm saying? And then Phil was like, all right, I got to, whatever, I got to put 5 in the court. Yeah. So, not Randy Brown. It was, I forgot who it was.
Myers.
Yeah, Pete Myers, right. Pete Myers went in. Myers was throwing the ball in. Tony, he taking the final shot. Kukoc made that shot. We won that game. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get your point on that first. I wanted to skip over that moment in time in the playoffs. So I'm trying to be fair. Let's talk about it a little bit. But first and foremost, because our first episode of doing this and the first 2 episodes we saw after that, weekend, everybody was crying, Scotty getting his money, sympathy for Scotty, prayers up for Scotty, started GoFundMe and all that good stuff. But this was mid-contract. This was his time to really show off and shine. How do you think he handled not getting the final shot in that situation with Phil? So
that was so I remember watching that game, and it came out real time, like that he refused to come in the game. So it wasn't like the game was over and then we hear, hey, did you know that Scotty decided to do? I'm watching the game and they're like, yeah, Scotty, I think it was Marv Albert or somebody like, yeah, Scotty is refusing to go in the game. I'm like, well, I couldn't believe it because that year, Scotty was holding it down. I mean, he wasn't no Mike, but I mean, the team playing well, the offense moving well, the players were responding to him. Mm-hmm. And, we needed that. I was like, wow, okay. But, it goes to show that that when you really don't have when you put yourself above the team, you see the detriment it gives because they all looked at him different from that, even though he apologized after the game and all that, especially when the coach draws up this play for a reason. Like it wasn't like, hey, I need Tony to shine more than Scotty. It's like, nah, like we've been in this situation multiple times this season. This dude has come through multiple times. We're not saying that you can't make a clutch basket, Scotty, but this has been his moment all year long. Mm-hmm. So why go away from something that we know works? So then you refuse to go in. The ball gets inbounded. He makes the shot just like it was drawn up. The game is over. Now you look really crazy because at least if he would have missed, you could be like, well, see, had they given me the ball, but now he draws it up to perfection, executes, wins the game. Now what are you saying? And then Bill Cartwright, he gets all choked up and he couldn't believe, like, you're the leader, bro. Like you're our leader, and you just quit like that. And he realized it in the moment, but was weird. Then goes and say he don't know if he would change it, which I thought that was kind of weird. But he said he don't know if he would change it. But that just I think that shows you right there the stark difference between him and Mike. Would Mike have responded well to the last shot going to Tony? I don't think so. I also think if Mike was there, the last shot wouldn't have went to Tony. But even if he wasn't, Phil had this other plan. Mike would have been tight, but Mike would have came onto the floor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I think at the end of the day, he knows if something goes wrong or if it don't look like it's going right, and he just got to go out there and take the ball. At least you got to be on the floor to do that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, he wouldn't have, just been like, nah, I'm not getting on the floor. But yeah, it was a bad look. And it's definitely something that's never left my mind about Scottie Pippen. I still like Scottie Pippen as far as respect what he did for the game. I think that a lot of his shortcomings are coming out. And and he's getting barraged with negative things and things that he did. It's not like these things that you made up. Like, he did these things. But I do think it's a little too negative, in my opinion. I think there are a lot of things that I think if you wanted to do a whole Sky Pippen thing, you probably could put out a lot of more positive things he actually did in a Bulls uniform. And I'm not trying to say that nothing that came out is untrue or it's not fair, but I do think that a lot is coming out, and I think is painting, opening people's eyes more to the negative things to positive things.
Lou, what do you think about that play situation?
Episode 1, selfish. Like, it's not about you. And every instance Pippen tried to make it about him, it's backfired on him.
Right.
It's looking bad every time he tries to make it about him. Like, dude, you're the leader of this team. In my opinion, that may have stopped him from getting MVP votes.
Possibly.
Shot himself in the foot. Like, dude, suck it up. Like, you're the best handler on that team. It made sense, you being 6'8", the wingspan you have, to inbound the ball. Makes perfect sense.
Right.
Like, why are you going against the grain? And then my thing is, if you're gonna go against the grain, be right.
Right.
Like, be right. Like, know in your heart, like, yo, I done scorched the Knicks this game. I'm up to 50 points. Like, I'm hot. Give me the ball.
Right.
Don't come in here with 27 points and be like, well, Mike's not here no more, so the ball goes to me. Like, that's not how it works. Like, so for me, it was essentially greedy for him, to even come out and say, I'm not going in.
Right.
He could have kept that to himself. Suck it up, go in the game. If the shot don't work, you can be like, hey, the reporters, listen, that's how Phil drew up.
Yeah.
Phil took the ball in my hands. Let Phil fall on that sword. Like, don't fall on that sword for him. And so, to me, extremely greedy, extremely selfish. It's just like, and then for the shot to go in, like, you just got to sit there and eat humble pie.
Yeah.
Phil was right. BJ, you can see on the bench, BJ going off on him, like, listen, this is not how you handle it. Because I guarantee if Mike would have been in that position, we know the ball would have went to Mike. Mike is just Mike. And it's the Knicks. Mike kills the Knicks. We'd have known that. But if Phil would have said, hey, Mike, I think the ball should go here. All right, cool. Same way when they were on that run and he said, trust Pax. And he started feeding Pax the ball. Like, just buy into the system. Like, fully be committed. And maybe Pippen would have got MVP that year. It could have changed his whole career going forward. But
which would have been unfair because that was the playoffs. And if you were voting on the regular season, that shouldn't have a bearing.
But we know how it goes.
But that type of thing, you don't forget it, bro. You don't forget.
You don't forget that, especially something so fresh. Like, you saw what he did in the playoff game.
That's around when they are getting their votes together for that. You know what I'm saying? So
he got the ballot, and it's just like, I changed my vote. I changed my vote.
It's really selfish and greedy to him, man. And to make it worse, they made the shot. So
that was the worst part.
This goes back to the conversation we had starting this whole series off when they were talking about Scotty prolonged his ankle surgery. He Michael, like you said, Lou, Michael called him selfish. You know what I'm saying? And every time he does have, well, I can't even say he had a legitimate beef with the money situation. But again, we already spoke about that. But in this situation, you're mad because the play is not drawn up for you, but you've been the facilitator. You've been the point forward. You've been, you didn't get a scoring title. You wasn't that dude. And this is kind of, part of that LeBron versus Jordan conversation where we always talk about a facilitator versus scorer. Who looks better in hindsight. You know what I mean? The scorer is always gonna shine. And that's, the Allen Iverson, like, if you pick a name, nobody's gonna, point guards didn't really shine unless there was Isaiah, who was a scoring point guard. The Derrick Roses, the Russell Westbrooks, CP3 gets overlooked a lot of times because he's a facilitator. Nobody talks about Rajon Rondo. And he averaged like 15 assists a game, Like Stockton, people always look Stockton was, but he leads the all time leading in assists. You know what I'm saying? Facilitators always get overlooked. So when you were the facilitator of the team, that became your role, and it was a selfless scheme, the triangle. Now we don't have the dude taking 15, 20 shots a game. So you thrived in it because you was the man. He averaged like 20 something and was the leading scorer. You know what I'm saying? But also getting 8 assists or whatever. So everybody's saying you're the man, you're the man, you're the man. We thought you were gonna struggle without Mike. You're the man, you're the man. So yeah, I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? But then Phil hit him with a curveball, and he like, so what do you do? Not even in with the team. So I'm gonna get the assist in to his shot. No, I ain't going in. And that goes back to I don't want to ruin my summer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so people tendencies and habits is how you see who a person is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People not mind readers or I don't horoscopes, but you just watch somebody's tendencies and their habits when they don't get their way, or you know what I'm saying. Then you really, this is the same thing you did in this situation. This is what you did, and his habits was throw a tantrum. I don't want to play. Same.
To me, it kind of points to an insecurity, and I don't know him, but it's just like, you're good at what you do. Michael's good at what he did. You know what I'm saying? So, people lead people to the promised land in different ways.
Right.
Let's say Scotty was Scotty, the same Scotty was, but the Bulls won in '94, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would have won with the formula that they won all year, where he facilitated and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, it's to win.
Mm-hmm.
All that people not saying I'm the man, or that is when you look in the stat sheets, there's no I was the man category. There's no category for that. So
right.
I mean, what are you playing for? What are you really playing for? Your lane is this, and this is how you contribute to the team. And they were winning, and that should be enough for you, in my opinion. For you to have to have people praise you because you took the last shot, and if the flow of the game called for that, then hey, great. But the coach drew up a play. Y'all won the game. They won the game and had a somber locker room because of like.
Right.
They won a playoff game, game in their building, and was crying in the locker room after it because you want to be selfish, like
the mood kill, right? The buzz kill. Like down 2-0, we got one. We not even like okay, it's the turning point. We coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was definitely a mood killer, and nobody's calling Tony Kukoc the man.
Right. Why don't we celebrate him? He stepped up, and he hadn't been in the league that long. Stepped up, made a big why we should be. They should be lift him up in the air. Like instead, we got to worry about this crying.
Right. Because the story came.
Yeah, that
he on the bench pouting. You know what I'm saying? He got Cartwright talking to him. Be like, it just diffused the whole moment, and he had a good game 4, but it was like the mood was still just awkward the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like it was one of them things where it was like at that point he was trying to prove it's not just the system. I can still do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I got us. I can handle it without Mike, and and that changed the whole dynamic because then Horace left, a couple people left, and then the following season it wasn't the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The mood, the climate was completely different. You know what I'm saying? But before we get off of that, game 5 was the second game that I always talk about. That was the Hubert Davis foul. The phantom foul called that on Scotty, and Hubert Davis hit them free throws to win the game. They didn't show that in the episode, but I know what happened. Hubert Davis got the 5 free throws, and y'all stole that game. And then y'all went on to win that series. But that, like I said, as a Bulls fan, and a lot of, a lot of the current ESPN people like to praise Scotty for their LeBron argument and stuff. But like you got to really look at it. Scotty isn't like a Dwayne Wade,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Scotty isn't a Kyrie Irving. Them dudes was killers. Scotty was a facilitator. goes back to like I was saying, like they were smaller guards, but they were scoring at their position. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't the pass was second, and again, you can have the argument scorers, whatever, but the scorers is always going to be the man. You know, and the people that have that, you know, that image also, because Tim Duncan is quiet. He doesn't draw the attention.
But you know why Tim Duncan don't beef? Because people that understand the game are not going to get caught up in that. Like people like scorers. Scorers, like you said, get the limelight. The fans who really might not have a good understanding of the game, but they're entertained by the game, they want to see buckets. So it's natural that they gravitate toward the guy scoring 7 million points. Like people know the game, appreciate killers. They understand. They appreciate the role that facilitators play too. So Tim Duncan understands. Like people who know. I don't have to be. I don't have to be out here screaming my name every 5 minutes or every day.
And Tim, it wasn't about him. Popovich's system. Right. You got Ginobili. You got Tony. You know Sean Elliott. You know you had a team. He didn't care. Like the W was the bigger thing above all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why they had one of the most successful runs that nobody talks about. You know what I mean? Like I always had to argue with people, and they'd be like, "Yo, the 2000s was ran by Kobe and Shaq," and I'm like, "Yeah, but
nah, forget that. Don't forget them boys.
They was right there, like you know what I'm saying." So and from literally from '99 until Tim Duncan retired, they was consistently in the playoffs, 50, 60 wins. It was guaranteed, like. You know what I'm saying? And nobody, you know, it's forgotten because it's not the, you know, Tim Duncan had like one game winner where he really wilded out and people was like, whoa, like we never seen that side of emotion and aggression from Tim Duncan. It was just like, you know, he was just such a ho-hum guy, but he actually hit the shot and pumped his fists and it was like, whoa. He showed some energy, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you don't get like, you know, Mike, we know the fist pump and the, you know, Kobe's, you know, we know the aggression and, you know, the players nowadays, those gang signs up, but it's certain, you know, Tim Duncan hit the bank shot and he just like back down on defense. You know what I'm saying? And it's just different. But yeah, it was, you know what I'm saying, as good as that season was, you know what I'm saying, even if, like I said, they didn't really go too in-depth on Pippen and them in the locker room, you know what I'm saying? But that locker room moment was big because any leadership aspect he did have, he lost it all in that one play. You know what I mean? You was the guy, but that one play showed why you really couldn't handle that role as the guy. You know what I'm saying? And like you know, you guys went on to, you know, beat us. You know.
We didn't get far though. It's all right.
True. True. But they on the episode they contrasted, you know, that year without Mike, and then they showed in '98, you know, Jordan's relationship with Scott Burrell, which they kind of showed a little bit in earlier episodes when he was like on the plane with Scott Burrell and he was, you know, calling him alcoholic and you know, to me I took it as he was joking. Scott Burrell only played with us 1 year, so I really didn't know much about him, whatever. So I didn't know if he was alcoholic or, you know what I'm saying. But I took it as he was such a nice guy that Mike was just saying some craziness, knowing that his family, probably church-going family, they don't get involved in none of that stuff. Right. Scott was just, you know, clean cut. We kind of got a little bit of that. He's clean cut, nice dude. He actually addressed that. Scott Burrell was like his girlfriend that he had at the time when they recorded that, he's married to today still. Nice. He gave his parents the heads up that Mike was going to say some craziness. And, you know, he good. He ain't stressed it. But people call him Mike a snitch. What have you. But they went a little deeper into their relationship and showed how Mike pushed him. And I guess that's a sign of respect. You know what I mean? Most coaches usually pick on the player he sees something in. You know, you're not living up to the potential that I think you can do, so I'm going to poke at you, you know, and that works for some people, the poking. And, you know, Shaq did the same thing with Kobe. You know, I'm going to poke at you, I'm going to piss you off, make you mad, and bring the aggression out of you, you know. So Mike kind of did that with Scott Burrell. And they also spoke about how he did that with other players and stuff. And we got the story about the infamous Steve Kerr fight.
I was waiting for that. Episode.
Yeah, it was a rumor. It was a myth for years. but they finally gave us the full details on the Steve Kerr Michael Jordan fight. I got super respect for Steve Kerr now. Basically, you know, they was like it was another game of practice. Practice is a big deal, you know, for Michael Jordan and in this story. Practice is always huge. You know what I'm saying? The Dream Team practices was crazy. The Space Jam, you know, scrimmages, practice, whatever you want to call them, was crazy. And in one day of practice, when Mike finally came back to the team, and you know, it's a new team for the most part. Steve Kerr's new. You know, Robin is there now. It ain't Paxson and them. It's like, what happened to Horace is gone, like everybody gone. So filling out the new people. And, you know what I'm saying, Phil was calling some ticky-tack stuff or whatever. So Mike took it upon himself to see Steve Kerr. Probably thought he was chump. He's like, all right, now that's a foul. So Kerr got back up, do some hands. So Mike punched him like, what? Like, you know what I mean? I would love to see a video, you know, of it, but we don't. But I respect Kerr for standing up to him. You know what I'm saying? Kerr didn't look at it like, that's Michael Jordan. You know, ow. Like, I'm just going to go run across. Kerr was like, you know, squared up. Like, you know. But long story short, they you know, everyone, they talked to Will Perdue, they talked to him, and they were like, we kind of were afraid of Michael. You know, he was tyrannical. He was aggressive. It was, you know, it was in your face. But then they also were like, but he backed it up. You know, we won. We won with that. And, you know, what do y'all take on his leadership style, you know, and the effects of it?
So so this, you know, I kind of look at his style in a couple different ways or in different aspects. I mean, in general, I've never been a fan of that type of style. I mean, I don't think it has to be done that way. And I feel, you know, you really shouldn't rule by fear like that. But what I will say is this. He led in the way he knew how and how he was motivated to lead. He figured, you know, I have this fire, and if we're gonna win, I need everybody to have this fire. And the same fire, the Michael Jordan level is his own. Like, no matter how much poking and prodding he was gonna do, they weren't all getting to his level. However, when he sees, you know, these people are lacking, I'm gonna push and prod and break them to get them to where I feel that I'm getting the best out of them. And the reason I don't like it, but I won't knock it from him because it was successful. He did it multiple times. And to go even further, when you ask those players about it, they'll say, yeah, he was wilding, he did such and such and such, but they understood the intention and what the motivation was. They understood why he was doing it. And they didn't like it at the time or whatever. But even while it was going on, they never, from what they say, it never was like, well, then Mike just wants to be an asshole, or he just, they understood where it was coming from. So in that type of situation, if they're not mad, there's no way I feel any of us should be mad, because like those are the people that it was happening to. They understood, and they actually saw the fruits of the labor come. One thing I don't like is people seem to act like that's what has to happen, and there's been plenty of other championships with leaders who didn't use that style. So it's not the blueprint, but it is effective. So I won't say that if someone's going about it that way, they're headed in the wrong direction, because we've seen it work that way. We've seen it work. Kobe with that way as well, with his Shaqless Laker teams that were champions. So it's effective, but it's not the only way. But I don't really, as much as I don't like it, that was him. That was how he got the best, and that's the way he knew how to do it. And he did it six times. So. So I mean,
right.
That's
hard to argue
with right. Yeah. So I don't hate the man for it. It's just not my style. It's not for me. But I can't argue its effectiveness, though.
Right. Lou, what are your thoughts on his leadership style?
I completely embrace it. I love his leadership style. I put it this way: if the best player on the planet is pushing you to be your best version of yourself, you pretty much have a recipe for success. Because at the end of the day, if you go to war with Michael and teams are coming at him 110%, that means they're not focusing on you 100%. So if you're having your best day ever in practice against Michael, ain't nobody gonna touch you on the court. Like, ain't nobody gonna push you as hard as your own teammate. And that's what Mike wanted to convey to them. Because the grief he gave them, I guarantee you they weren't getting that from players in live games. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't hounding them the way he was hounding them in practice. So for a leader to come out and expect you to perform at your all-time high, and he said himself, he didn't ask them to do anything he wasn't willing to do himself. And that's the same thing. That's the philosophy I live by, because if I want you to go to war with me, I need to know that you're going to put in as much work as me. Because I'm going to go give it 110%, 120%. If you match me to 100, I respect you. I take you to go to war. So his leadership style resonates 1,000% with me, because you only as good as the people around you. You know what I'm saying? You can be the best player on the planet, but if you got your Pippins and your Rodmans and your Kerrs, like, not giving their all and thinking, well, Mike's here, let him carry us, they were never going to win. So for me, it was like just having that high level of expectation from the team. It speaks volumes to him as a person, because he would never settle. Like, he was, from watching this, I think he is the most competitive person on the goddamn planet. Like, I thought I was competitive and I don't like losing, but after watching this man, I look like I'm a pushover compared to him. You know what I'm saying? Because he always thought 10 steps ahead of everybody on that court. And it showed. In practice, he put in that effort, he put in that time. You know, he didn't let anybody slack off. And if you slacked off, he was going to call you out. And that's something in today's NBA you don't really see. You know, you got players fighting with coaches on the court, throwing balls halfway across the court, like walking off, you know, taking, you know, rest days. Like, you tell Mike now that people are taking rest. Could you imagine Pippen telling Mike, I need a rest day? Like, I need load management. Like, you get paid to play the game, and you get paid to play it at a high level. You know, that's the reason it's a select few. There's only a couple hundred NBA players. It's not like Major League Baseball where you got like 2,000 players. NFL where you got a team of 53 players. You know, they can take turns. Oh, basketball is a very physical and demanding sport. And Mike wanted that from everybody on his team, because that's the way he was taught. You got to remember, Mike came in the early 80s where rookies got shit. Like, they got treated like shit literally from day one until game 82 when they were no longer a rookie. So for him to put that pressure on them and expect that much, I would have loved to play with Mike. Because I would have taken that and, like, I ran with it. Like, yo, if Mike sees the best in me, that speaks a lot from the best player in the goddamn world.
Yeah, I think what you described about getting the best out of people, that's what every leader needs to do. I just think there's more than one way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, so those players who won and did bring the best out of their teammates without doing that, they did what he did, just differently. But again, I don't think it's a situation where Mike said, okay, I can go by the A, B, or C.
It was just
it was like, nah, this is how I do it. You know, right? You know, this is how I do it. Like, I'm up here. I need y'all to be up here. And if I see that y'all are not doing that, I'm gonna call you out. It's gonna be visible. You're not gonna have to wonder how I'm feeling about what you're doing. It's like, nah, like, and you know, like I said, it worked. And when you speak about the competitive nature again, like just seeing him, just going back a few episodes ago, he's, you know, throwing quarters at the wall, and I'm like, you have to win everything. I can imagine, like, with his kids, when we probably taught them tic-tac-toe, he was probably smoking them, like, you know, laughing at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what are you doing? Like,
they told a story about them playing football, and he tackled Jeffrey into like a table or something like that. And like got some stitches. Like, yeah, even the kids was like, nah, it's even with us. Like, it wasn't just there. It was like when we played sports around the house, it was still real. He wanted to win. So yeah, he was serious about that. But none of us have played professional sports, but we've all, you know, supervised, managed staff, and, you know, we've ran, you know, locations and business, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, there's different ways of going about it, but the goal is to bring out the best of your people and stuff. And yeah, that was Mike's way, you know, kind of how he was raised, you know what I'm saying? And also what he went through. You know, he got beat up by the Pistons and the Knicks, and, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, listen, I'm gonna beat you up. So when they hit you, you're it's nothing
Right.
new.
That's nothing. That's nothing now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So Mike was preparing them for what they did. So and that's the thing is like, you know, he was preparing them to be him. You know, they got the Jordan rules out here in these streets. So I'm gonna treat you like Jordan. But everybody was like, but Mike, I'm Judge Bushman. I'm Steve Kerr. Like, and he's like, no, you're Jordan, and these are the Jordan rules. You know what I'm saying? So he was preparing them for what he went through. You know, Hove did that, so hopefully you want to go through that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And that's what he also saw who was built for it. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, Lou, like if you just took it as, but you're Michael Jordan, I'm passing it to you, and I'm just going to step out. Like, no, I'm gonna need you every now and then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I could score 50, but we still got to get 100 out of this at least. You know what I'm saying? Depending on, you know what I'm saying? But we average about 100 and change. I need you to pull in some points too. You know what I'm saying? I can't just I'm not having scored 100 points by myself yet. You know,
right. He's like, I've done that before, and then we lost. You know,
right? So I'm gonna need you, right? The Boston Celtics swept me when I scored 69,
right,
53. You know, I did all that, but I'm gonna need you to chip in some points here. So I'm preparing you for what I'm gonna go through. You know, so you prepared for whatever, and you know what I'm saying. We already know when Paxson catch that jump shot, the pressure isn't as crazy because Mike hit me. You know what I'm saying? A wide open jump shot is nothing.
Right.
when and somebody coming at me I'm prepared because I didn't been tackled, hit, like, you know, I done been through all this, and it was funny. You know, he got emotional even talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Because and I think that was the part of it where you know, before the series began, he was like, people are gonna look at me as a bad guy or an asshole. And I think that's probably what he meant, because that seemed to be like the moment he had to take a break. So I think that might have been what he was thinking about, recalling that moment. And at the end of the day, I respect it, you know, because he wasn't just picking on them. You know, he was like, in his mind, preparing them for war. You know what I'm saying? And I think some of them got that. You know, they were like, you know, it made us the best team. Like I said, we're talking about Bill Winningtons and Will Purdue's, Judd Bushlers. Like, we're not talking about, you know, some other top tier players that came to the team. Right. You know, we're talking about dudes that they drafted, and these dudes, as far as legacy goes, their names are only known and mentioned with Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? So what would they have been on any other team? They would have just been any person.
And I don't think you should I don't think he should feel bad. As much as I don't like the style, I don't think he should feel bad about what he did, or worry about what the perception is going to be.
I think that's what it was, the perception of it.
I don't think he should worry about that either, because at the end of the day, see, for me, if it was me, it'll be more about how those guys felt personally. Mm-hmm. So like if now I was doing this Last Dance and everybody was like, well, I don't know why he was like that, and I hated every moment that I was on the team, and we won, and I was a good residual, but I couldn't stand. Like if they didn't get it, if they didn't understand, then maybe I will see. Yeah, I mean, I was successful, but it was at the expense of, you know, people being miserable because of me. But these guys are saying that, it was intense, but they understand, and I'm good now. You know, y'all got what I meant. You know what I'm saying? Y'all understood what I was going after.
Yeah, I think he correlates that.
After a win, they was high-fiving him. They was hugging him. Like, it wasn't like, Michael did it again.
And then they also say that off the court, he cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we go to the court, we bonding, we doing. So I mean, you see, it's a laser focus. You know when it's what it's about.
And I think they got that. I think you know, they understood it. You know what I'm saying? And it may not have been right away. You know what I'm saying? It may not have been like in the moment, but you know, winning erases
everything. Right? Yep.
You know what I mean? But two is like, I get it. And these are grown men. So it's also like, what are you made of? He's
Right.
also like testing you, like, oh, you that sensitive? Like, oh, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and him, 3 brothers from the country, like that, he it wasn't about that. Like, he was, you know what I'm saying? When he got beat up and bullied by his older brothers, I had to get bigger. I had to get taller. I had to, you know what I'm saying? I got to get better. When he got bullied by the Celtics, I got to get stronger. I mean, by the Pistons, I got to get stronger. It wasn't a go cry to mommy.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was, I got to improve me. You know what I'm saying? And again, the reason why that doesn't always work is because everyone doesn't take it the same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a part of, him, you got to realize that doesn't always work. Some people are going to be like, yeah, I'm out. I don't want to be here. I don't want to deal with this. Some people might get it and gravitate, towards it. So, but like I said, he got choked up a little bit. It was like the even now, he's retired, he's an owner, but the passion, the determination, the intensity is still there. You know what I'm saying? The will to win. He probably still out betting and, don't flipping quarters or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He probably still just got that in him because it's him and it's authentic. It's not something that's made up or fake or, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say I respect him, because as much as, you know what I'm saying, like we talked last week about, he didn't speak up for this, but it's him. And when what you're getting from someone, you can't even, it's like, I know what he won't do and what he will do. So I know what to expect. Like, we got to compartmentalize our heroes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I love him as the greatest basketball player of all time. You know what I'm saying? As a person, as a human, hey, depends on the day. The stories about him not signing this and treating people like, saying, I don't know how he is as a man in general. You know what I'm saying? But from what I'm seeing from this, and also it's a documentary, we got to understand it's cut to edit a certain way as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they ain't mentioned Juanita yet.
No.
I don't think they will, bro.
You were cheating on Juanita, but we're not going to it. But it's a documentary with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? That's what I say. I'm open-minded enough to know that. I'm not just like, oh my God. I get it, but I can also compartmentalize my hero and my love for him. He's not perfect. No man is.
Nope.
And that's the part that people got to understand. So we can argue all day who's better, but this dude was genuinely that. Like, and you can see it now to this day. Like, he's still and got emotional about it. Like, he couldn't, on the court when you're dribbling, flowing, you hit the jump shot, you pump your fist, whatever. But sitting there talking, he still, got teary-eyed and choked up. And like I said,
this might be a little off topic, but knowing the competitive nature and the fire that he has, how do you think he's dealt with owning a franchise that can never really get relevant? They can never really get their bearings to become competitive. From what he's used to and what he knows, do you think that eats at him like, hey, this is my thing, and we can't get it together? I think that
I think that's why they don't succeed, because he's probably still stuck in that way, because there's been stories of him playing players one-on-one and calling them out as the owner, you know what I'm saying? And he's done that. So I think as an owner, he may need to take more of a back seat, get a GM to handle that. And, you know what I'm saying? You can still pop up, but I think he might be too hands-on. I think that was one of the reasons that Charles Barkley and him had a falling out, because Barkley called him out on hiring yes men or something like that, like he said. But, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it was yes men or whatever, but I just think he should get more people that he knows that are better at, drafting or picking and trade, like get some better GMs and step out of that. You know what I'm saying? But again, as someone that's so competitive, how do you tell them to stop?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because didn't he draft Kwame Brown? Wasn't that like his pick?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And so it's like, and I don't know if he scouted or had somebody scout, or, you know what I'm saying, how that even went down. I don't know how hands-on he is, but I know they said he's involved with it. But it's like, how do you tell Michael Jordan, chill, Mike, I got this?
Chill out. Yeah.
How do you tell? And at 40, 50 years old, you would think it would be easier. But after watching this and him talking about even that third, it's like, I still don't think how you can tell, you know what I'm saying? And that's why he couldn't coach. I don't think he would have been a terrible coach.
Right.
I'm happy you said that. I was going to bring that up. I think the reason that there's a lot of great players do try to motivate the way he does. And even if they don't do it to that degree, and that's why I think it's very few players who were great when they played that coach now. Normally the players that coach after they played, they were solid, they were good players or whatever, but they never was that, hey, I had it all on my shoulders type player, because you can't, that, like, if you want to be a captain on the floor like that, that's fine. The coach can't be like that. Like, it's too many different type of personalities to weed through and stuff like that. So yeah, I couldn't imagine him coaching.
A lot of the great coaches were like the point guards, the facilitators,
exactly. Right.
that spent
high
a lot
IQ
of
guys
time with the coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, spent time with the coach and personality management and stuff like that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, them dudes become the better coaches. They're not I'm not taking the last shot. I'm setting up to play for the last shot.
Right.
You know, that type of dude, the Steve Kerrs, the Mark Jacksons, you know what I'm saying? Like the Doc Rivers, those guys, and they learned under a certain type of coach. Popovich got a whole stable of coaches that he breeded out here. Phil got a crew now of guys that are under his legacy. You know what I'm saying? So these dudes, and even if they didn't really directly learn, it was like playing under this person and then taking that here, like her, played under Phil, but then also played under Popovich.
Under Pop,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if he might not have just sat and picked his brain as much, but it was like just being in those systems helped him. Because remember, Kerr tried, he was a GM of some of that first. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, he probably was like, I'm better at being on the court than I am. And I think Mike thought he'd be the opposite, but it's like Mike being Mike is like, if you're going to own it, just count the monies and handle the business side of it. Let someone else do the day-to-day stuff and delegate the GM to handle that. The vice president, the secretary, do that, like coaches, you know what I'm saying? I think that may be the reason the Hornets suffer so much. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know for sure, but it's even more now after seeing him in this. It's like, I think that may be, the situation. I think they said, I don't know who it was, but I think a lot of players Kimba was there for a minute, but they said he wasn't really happy there, and I don't know if it's because of Mike directly, but he wanted out. You know what I'm saying? So, we don't know. But I think if I had to think, if I had to guess, I would definitely say he's, Magic couldn't even be a good coach. No. Magic couldn't do it. Bird lasted for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like somebody like Michael Jordan, and he drew up a play for the last shot and you miss it, he gonna look at you like, I'd have made that. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be the coach.
You ask all my teammates, one thing about Michael Jordan was he never asked me to do something that he didn't fucking do. When people see this, they're gonna say, well, he wasn't really a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Oh, well, that's you, because you never wanted anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well. Like, I don't have to do this. I'm only doing it because it is who I am. That's how I played the game. That was my mentality. If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. Break.